On the Fringe with Dan Radio Style. Hope everybody out there's having themselves a great day. Things are moving really fast right now, and we've got to keep a few things in mind. One, I think there's a lot of people that have put your guards down. I don't think that's a good idea. I think we're definitely in probably one of the rockiest parts of this, and then I think from there it's just going to begin to be kind of a battle, just trying to get stuff passed through, dealing with the public and how they view it and see it. But the border right now is being heavily talked about, so that's huge. That's going to be freaking a lot of people out, and there's going to be a lot of talking points around that. We've also got major stuff around the elections, around who Trump is going to pick for his administration. There are enormous numbers of rumors. There are people that are speaking about rumored people and then kind of getting pissed off at Trump because there's like all these reasons why they shouldn't vote for these people. Now, we are going to mention the Senate side of this because the Senate leadership is going to be an important piece, and I think it does help to put a spotlight on that. But when it comes to who Trump picks for his administration, I think we've got to trust him at this point. And also, we've got to try to not listen to the rumors. Some of the worst have been like Axios, and some of them are some of the worst right now with reporting. AP even, actually AP was correct. I'll stand back on that one. But again, we've got to be careful where the rumors are coming from. If it's from an alleged source close to or anything like that, don't believe it. I don't believe Trump's leaking anything. And I think when he picks somebody, he immediately goes public. So we've got information. We're going to stay on top of that, and we're really going to try to stay away from a lot of the speculation, if you will. I want to remind people, those of you that maybe want to hang out, Friday, the third Saturday of the month at 1 p.m. Pacific time, 4 p.m. Eastern. We usually meet a hair earlier than that, and we usually go a bit longer than an hour. But what I do is I make myself available in a Zoom meeting for roughly an hour or more, and I do it with you guys. And so it costs $5. You go to onthefringe.locals.com. I'm not really doing it for the money. It's more an issue of just trying to make sure someone's serious about it, and it does help pay for the Zoom account and all that stupid stuff, but ultimately it's just a chance to hang out with you guys, and I hope this is something that maybe you'd be interested in. So Saturday at 1 p.m. Pacific time, 4 p.m. Eastern, we will be hanging out. I usually send the Zoom invite 30 minutes before or so. The second I send it, people hop in, so I kind of tend to wait to the last minute to send it out. But if you want to become a member, it's $5 a month. That's all you got to do, a recurring $5 a month fee, and you will be invited. That's kind of how the list is pulled. You can cancel anytime you want. It's just something I thought I'd throw out there for any of you guys that are available and might be interested. I mean, again, it seems strange to me that people want to, hang out to a degree, but I get that some of you do. So it's fun, too. We just talk about whatever the hell. People got questions, they ask questions, and sometimes they, throw some things they disagree with me on and, stuff like that. So it's always good times. Anyway, we're getting into it. This was just funny. I thought this was a great way to start the show, and here it goes.
Swear to God, if you idiots elect that demented man, I will burn this whole fucking place to the ground. How did we get here?
I'm done.
I'm Don. Nice to meet ya. Having a little trouble with the fact I beat ya? I guess so. Music to my ears got me thirsty though. Ooh, good gushing. You done got me buzzing. Nothing hits the spot like an arrogant twat balling on TikTok. Raise a shot. Oh, I've been sipping. Nothing satisfies like the taste of the crowds. They're flipping, tripping. Quenching my soul, but I never get full. Bottomless glass, no empty cups. Bathe in the rain of pretentious fucks who don't listen. I listen. Pour me another Harry Sisson. I'm sipping. Good God, you're a touchy bunch. Fresh tears to wash down my lunch. Sanctimonious fruit punch. Lap up the juice of entitled country. Hate him bitches. Drink it like fishes. Delicious. One of my favorite dishes. True chemo wishes. Grinning like Ulysses. Mega back in business. Oh, I've been sipping. Nothing satisfies like the
I like that. I don't know what it is, but that's pretty damn cool. So, needless to say. Here is, again, something I find, if you one, humorous, but two, really, weren't there a lot of people that were claiming they'd leave this country? I believe Stephen King said he'd throw himself into a wood chipper. Still waiting. Should be a big story, Steve, when you finally get around to it. A number of people, like on The View, said they were going to leave the country. I think this young lady's got it figured out. Check it out.
You know what? I'm getting pissed off. It's been 72 hours since Trump been elected, and we are not getting what we voted for. We're not. And I'm pissed about it. I'm pissed because I could have sworn that these celebrities and these women on The View and all these places said that if we voted Trump in, that they was going to leave the country. And now I saw that the View, they showing up in black dresses just to mourn the president election, Trump being elected. That is not what y'all promised us. Y'all said that if we voted for Trump, that they will leave the country, and y'all ain't boarded a plane yet. And I'm getting frustrated. Trump, you got to do something about this, because I thought our vote was going to count. We did vote for that. That's what they not understanding. We voted for y'all to leave the country. And I thought that I would be seeing airlines being, filled up. Tickets would be hard to get because all the celebrities, all of Hollywood, all of these politicians, these journalists that said that if you get elected, that they was going to board the plane and leave. I can't no more. Our vote ain't counting already, y'all. I guess maybe I'll give them another week, but time is ticking. Get on the plane. All right.
Can't argue, right? I mean, we were promised something. I wish they would deliver on that promise. That would be wonderful. Not that I'm finding humor in this, but this is just an example of some of the insanity that exists out there. In Washington State, go figure, Rainier Valley specifically, this young lady, Corey Burke, reportedly told detectives that she killed her father during a mental health crisis, feeling overwhelmed by emotions related to Election Day. She admitted to using an axe and also strangled him, stating that she just freaked out when her father argued with her about the lights. The deputy prosecutor noted that Corey Burke appeared to be experiencing a mental health crisis at the time of the incident. She has been working on setting emotional boundaries with her father and felt hyper-focused and disorganized about their relationship. Inside the home, police discovered Timothy Burke's body, 67, in the basement with wounds to his head and torso. A bloodied silver and blue ice-claiming axe was found nearby, according to the charging documents. Freaked out about the election. They've got a lot of people very emotionally spun up right now. Again, this is why the putting your guard down is a bad idea. We may feel better right now because the emotional charge isn't as strong at the moment, so we're not kind of being bombarded by it. But these people have already been sent off into orbit. So careful. That's all I got to say. Be careful who you try to... Again, it's going to be touch and go here as we try to figure out the best way to move forward as far as getting the rest of the people on board, because they're going to be extraordinarily resistant. And I think, like most of you, the way I look at it's like, all right, fuck you. I don't care. You don't have to come. But that's not necessarily the right way to move forward, is it? So I'm hoping that we find common ground some way, shape, or form. But again, if somebody's being impossible, it's like, all right, well, the majority has spoken, and the majority is going to move forward. And you can throw a tantrum all you want. You can starve yourself. You can cut your hair off, which people are doing. I swear to God, when I show up to the family Thanksgiving, if my stepmother has shaved her head, I don't even know. She bought a pussy hat, so I'm borderline expecting her to do that. If she does, it's going to take every ounce of my being to not call her a retard. So we'll see. I hope she's not going to. I hope she's got a full head of hair when I see her. But again, this is going to be an interesting time of year. CNN's going to axe top stars in layoffs that see hundreds fired as ratings continue to tank. Oh, how I'd love to see some of these crap people. Caitlin, you only make $3 million? Wow, it's like you're not even paid the same as men. Whatever. So, yeah, we'll see who they get rid of there. We also, I thought, had a story about, Chris Wallace is going to exit CNN. I guess that's, I opened it, but I didn't talk about it. So, yeah, Chris Wallace is going, and then a bunch of other people as well. Something also interesting in the same sort of front. This gentleman, Shailesh Prakash, a key Google executive in charge of the company's news efforts and central to tech giants' relationships with publishers, has resigned. Apparently his relationship with publishers is not so good right now. Interesting, huh? The people that have been literally keeping the information away from those who want to find it, literally censoring information so we don't hear it, or controlling the narrative's a better way to put it. It's really more precise, I would say. Here's another individual that was doing just that. And it seems post the election and the fact that he failed, looks like he's on his way out the door as well. MSNBC ratings have tanked again after election spike as viewers tire of anti-Trump rants. Just a week ago, prior to the election, they were getting about 6 million daily viewers. Tuesday, they had 596,000. They went from 6 million daily viewers to 596,000. That's a 12th of what they were. That's horrible. Horrible. This is because we are the media now. Not them. Not anymore. Fed chair is prepared to bring a suit to keep his job if Trump tries to oust him, says a report. You see the battle is already going to begin. You see the Fed, the establishment, the deep state, hates Trump. They are not going to let Trump do what's right for the people. They are going to continue to try to control. And I'm quite sure Trump has a plan for the Fed. Again, he brought the Fed into the Treasury. That was a big, big move. Now, let's see where we go from here. So again, a lot is coming to the head right now. And Jerome Powell is a pile of trash that needs to go. Obviously, the chick in the Treasury, I can't even remember her stupid-ass name. She is retarded, so she's definitely out. I'm sure it's got to be, that first day of work's going to be so amazing. It's like, all right, we got to fire a bunch of people. I got to sign a bunch of shit, a bunch of EOs, right? Like, oh, it's going to be painful. It's going to be painful, but it's going to be, I guess, awesome, I think. Their system, I don't know how much longer it's got, but it is under duress. And I know everything seems good on the surface, which is what it's supposed to do, but how long that lasts, I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine, but you can see there is some battles off into the future that we're going to have to deal with that is going to affect the value of the dollar, whether the Federal Reserve note is still what we use. If any sort of new currencies ever come into existence, they would likely be backed by precious metals, probably natural resources, because we've got a lot of those types of things. And so you would essentially kind of back your currency with value or collateral of your own nation. It's probably what a lot of nations will do for their currencies rather than this central bank concept. And it's an even good way to kind of neutralize or equalize. And who knows? We'll see how it all plays out. But I'm telling you, this is not going to go smooth. There's going to be plenty of bumps in the road. If you've got a 401k or an IRA, your 25% of the dollar has lost its value in just 4 years. In 4 years, the dollar lost 25% of its value. Which means unless your stock prices in the last 4 years have gone up 25.1%, you've lost wealth, literally. Your buying power has diminished, and I'm almost 100% sure there's no way in hell your portfolio's gained over 25% in the last year or 4 years. Get out of their system. Tax-free, penalty-free. You can step sideways. Do not cash out, because then you're, one, staying in cash, which is a bad idea. Two, they're going to rape you with penalties and rape you with taxes. Don't. Step sideways. Use my good friends at Goldco. These guys are awesome. Plus, whatever your amount of your retirement is, maybe it's $50,000, they're going to give you up to 10% free silver. That'd be $5,000 worth of free silver they're going to throw in on the deal. Go to drslikesgold.com. drslikesgold.com. If you got $1 million policy, that's $100,000 of free silver potentially waiting for you. Go to drslikesgold.com. drslikesgold.com. Get out of their system. Tax-free, penalty-free. It's physical metals put into a trust. It's not paper contracts or any stupid stuff like that. You literally are going out of the stock market and out of cash into precious metals. And you know what's funny? You now control your wealth. not some other money market manager. You do. So they're not going to invest it in DEI or crazy stuff like that, which, of course, Trump's going to try to wrestle in, and some of these companies aren't going to make it. We're going to see how it plays out, but the stock market has definitely got a correction in store for itself at some point. And you've already lost 25% of the value just over the last 4 years. Get out. Get out while the getting's good. Get out while the prices of gold and silver are coming down a teeny bit at the moment and the value of the stock market's going up. This is the time. Get out while the getting's good. Go to drslikesgold.com, drslikesgold.com. Even if there's only $5,000 in your retirement, get out of it. Tax-free, penalty-free. You've got $500 worth of free silver they're going to give you, even if it's only $5,000. drslikesgold.com, drslikesgold.com. Get out of their system before they get out of you. And they are definitely trying to do that. Here is a lady that the FEMA boss, who was fired after ordering volunteers not to approach homes displaying Trump signs in Florida after Hurricane Milton, and insisted her edict was not isolated and was also happening in North Carolina. Speaking out for the first time since she was fired, Marnie Washington accused the Federal Emergency Management Agency of lying about the scandal and making her the scapegoat of a wider practice. Is someone turning the tables? Is someone whistleblowing on the people that fired her and expected her to just take it like a champ? Maybe not.
Stating that I was fired. They all alleged that these actions were made on my own recognizances and that it was for my own political advances. However, if you look at the record, there is what we call a community trend. And unfortunately, it just so happened that the political hostility that was encountered by my team, and I was on 2 different teams during this deployment, they just so happened to have the Trump campaign signage. FEMA always preaches avoidance first and then de-escalation. So this is not isolated. This is a colossal event of avoidance, not just in the state of Florida, but you will find avoidance in the Carolinas. Senior leadership will lie to you and tell you that they do not know. But if you ask the DSA crew leads and specialists what they are experiencing in the field, they will tell you. Demand for FEMA to give you those incident reports.
Boom. Boom. The deep state's going down. We are taking them down. There's no question about it. This is going to be an interesting few years. Florida Attorney General Ashley Moody. We're not going to leave it up to the federal government to conduct their own investigation. Let's hear how they feel about what's happening and looking into the nonsense and the rumors and the fact that the Fed's not actually helping bring information forward because they are themselves the actual criminals.
We're not going to leave it up to the federal government to do their own investigation. So this past weekend, Florida has already begun digging into this. We want to make sure that our emergency agency is looking into these details to making sure we have all of the information. We're seeking not only information from FEMA, but making sure if there are those within Florida who feel that they were overlooked or discriminated against because of their political views, that we have an understanding of that and that information. Because look, this is what folks have been saying all along, that this administration wasn't here to serve everyone, only a few. And so as we dig in, I think we're going to find that this, in fact, did happen. We're already seeing it in some of the reports and the databases, and we'll follow up accordingly.
Are you confident that going forward, FEMA will change the course and make sure it wasn't just one employee with this bad intention?
It doesn't matter if I'm confident. What matters is if the people of the United States of America are confident. And more, we're seeing these agencies under Biden and Harris say, there's nothing to see here. There's nothing to see here. Of course that doesn't happen. We're following our mission. And time again, we've seen them off mission, distracted, pushing funds into areas that should never have been envisioned when the agencies were created. And so I think the American people have lost a sense of trust in their institutions. Remember, whether it's DHS, Secret Service, FBI, DOJ, FEMA, these are people's institution. We, the people, gave the government their power. Right. We, the people, fund the government. It's our institutions. Right. And the further and further they get away from telling us the truth, doing their jobs, being accountable to their bosses, which are the people, there is a decimation of trust, and that cannot be in the United States of America, and that's what we're here to drill down on.
What is going to be hard for so many people to truly believe and understand is the fact that the government has been weaponized, but it's not just the government's been weaponized, though we understand that they were allowed to propagandize to us. Thank you, Obama. But on top of that, we then had a very extensive PSYOP campaign against the populace where they pit us against each other. They did a marvelous job, just unfortunately a lot of the people that tend to be on the right aren't necessarily as quick to get violent. I don't know. Again, we've got some people that are a little hardcore on our side of the fence. You know, they'll pick up a rock and throw it at you. But we also have a lot of people on their side that are so unhinged emotionally that they can't exist in this world right now. They're literally losing their minds. It is part of not everybody's going to make it through this. Some people literally are going to self-destruct in some way, shape, or form because they're going to do something that's illegal and then actually be held accountable because they've been getting away with all this stuff, but they won't anymore. The deep state system has to come down. Kamala Harris's campaign keeps badgering donors for cash. It's under the guise that they're going to use this to fight, the elections. They still want to, try to overturn stuff, which is, I think, fine. I welcome it. I'd also like to check into Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, Arizona, Nevada, and Colorado. I want to look into those. Georgia probably too. I want to look into those very closely because we saw the same thing that happened in a lot of those states, or maybe all of them, at 3 a.m. dumping point, except it was too big to rig in many cases. And so they still wanted to continue to try to figure out how to bring in extra ballots. Arizona's already over the number of voters. They've created a huge problem for themselves. They're so, determined to keep Kari Lake out because she's going to tear open everything there. They hate Kari Lake. They hate her. She represents everything that Trump represents to the larger picture. She represents that to Arizona. And then Nevada. Again, we won these states, but the Senate seats and the House seats, this is where I'm betting you money that they dumped a bunch of ballots because they were trying. And the House is supposedly going to us, though I don't find it's fully official yet, but it's also extraordinarily close, which it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be. So the House it's a big victory, but it's going to require no rhinos or no establishment people. And we got 2 years of some of the ones that are still establishment that are still there that we're going to have to primary out. And I mean, again, the amount of work that's ahead of us. So yeah, Kamala Harris is still trying to get money. She also owes $20 million to the campaign because it's broke and overspent by $20 million. Oops. Can only imagine what she would have done to our country. Literally spent six figures to pay or to create a set to have a lady come and do a podcast. Also, now here's the story. It's kind of funny. They're saying that she paid $1 million to Oprah. Oprah's like, no, I didn't get anything from it. Okay. And we don't need to listen to her. Damn, Oprah, I don't know. I guess you probably lost weight, I guess, but whatever. All said, she said she didn't get any money. Well, here's kind of what we know. Sean Davis, look this up. FEC records show two separate payments of $500,000 from the Harris campaign to Oprah's production company in October. See, this is public records. We have this funny little thing called the internet. We find things out, Oprah. So I guess you directly didn't get money, but your company did. And of course, if you were to, somehow got a bonus that year or that quarter, and maybe that bonus might have been an extra $1 million, wouldn't that look funny? And again, that's how you all launder it. And whether or not she took the cash like that, she might have gotten stock options. I don't even know. I don't even know what happens when you're a billionaire because it's not about the money. Like, I don't need another $1 million, thanks. I've got millions of dollars. Let's invest it into something and, like the troubles of money, I guess. Rich people problems. or first world problems that we sometimes joke. Okay, a lot of stuff with the election. First off, let's just give a fresh refresh. Yeah, so per Fox News, not that this is any sort of thing, but this map's done well for me, just in general, keeping track of crap. Let's see, are we done with the Senate completely? Yeah, so we even lost one of our Senate seats, it looks like, because I thought we had 54. Whatever, 53 to 47, that's official. But the House is not yet. 214 to 205, 218 needed. Decision Desk has called it. I don't know who these people are. DecisionDeskHQ.com. I don't know who they are. They got the what the hell? Freaking the website. Good God. I was trying to use a fancier word. That was the problem. They got the damn website. And so, okay, so who are you? Because it doesn't seem like they're the ones that call it, and I almost kind of feel like it's AP that's the official, but even still, I don't know. Like how this is officially called is kind of a questionable thing in the big picture. But they've got it 219 to 210. That's what they're saying. Which I guess there's still some votes missing, hopefully, that we would still get. But I don't know. They show us having the House. I don't think that's quite official. So I don't know. I'm kind of leaning on, like, Fox called Arizona early and everyone took it. So if Fox hasn't said it, I guess it kind of doesn't matter. If Brett Burr hasn't been out there to talk about it, though, I have given him a couple extra points, but I still think we got robbed. Here's Wisconsin. Vote totals in Wisconsin include a massive Kamala dump at 3 a.m. They actually did the meme, of course, just not as much as they could. But the dump is huge, and they always did a small proportion to the other person. But not enough. And they even tried it 3 times. 3 separate dumps. Big one, medium one, small one. And they couldn't get the numbers to go up. In fact, it's funny how you see every bump in her, you see a bump in him. They're identical. Isn't that also interesting? So real voters, huge positive upward curve. Big, giant gap. Then fake voters, boom, come in. Shortens that gap. And then they try to let it play out. It's like, damn, we still couldn't get there. That's Wisconsin. It's still Wisconsin, okay. But yeah, with the Senate vote, same movement we see, and then the big jump, and then another jump, and that put the Senate vote up enough to take the Senate in Wisconsin. Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, Arizona, Nevada, Colorado, Georgia, we won them. We still need to audit them. We still need to find the election shenanigans that they definitely did. We know they did. This has to be fixed now, once and for all. Just because we won the election, we should have won it way bigger. Way bigger. Trump's popular vote election should be probably a 2/3 to 1/3 is what it probably should be. But the deep state can't have that because it would tell everybody that everybody on the left right now, the super left, I guess, that your opinion really doesn't matter because only 1/3 of you actually agree with, only 1/3 of you think this crazy way. 2/3 of us think differently. 2/3 of us are actually going to go ahead and move forward together. You can do whatever you want, 1/3. Shave your hair, freak out, do what you got to do. I don't know. You do you. Hopefully it's not anything violent to anybody or yourself, but whatever is the case, if you commit crime, you're going to go to jail. Melania Trump, she's not going to join Trump at the White House on Wednesday. Normally, her and the First Lady would have a tea party. Well, when the Biden administration came in, they boogied. They didn't have the tea party with them anyway, so there was no real solid handoff like they normally would. And so Biden's going to do the little handoff that they should do. And Melania's like, I'm not going. I'm not going to go talk to that idiot. So she's not. She's not going to go talk to Jill or whatever, the babysitter. Good for her. Good for Melania. House Speaker Mike Johnson, he says there are preliminary plans for President-elect Donald Trump to visit Capitol Hill. He thinks Trump might have said it first. Maybe Johnson said it first, but since he's going to be there talking to Biden, he's like, yeah, it'd be cool if I came and talked to the Republican leadership in the House. So he's likely going to show up, or Republican leadership. I assume the Senate's maybe going to be there too. I don't know how that works if they meet in separate Maybe they do. Probably. I don't know. Probably they do. Who knows? But yes, they are planning on meeting. Let's call it that. That's a fair way to say it. Speaker Johnson had a cool little speech out in front of the Capitol Hill, talking about the voters and what their plans are. And anyway, check it out.
It is a beautiful morning in Washington. It is a new day in America. The sun's shining, and that's a reflection about how we all feel. This is a very, very important moment for the country, and we do not take it lightly. We did work really hard to bring this day about. The actual statistics are even harsher than you said, Richard. My team calculated, they told me last night, actually when it was all said and done, it did more than 360 campaign events in over 250 cities across 40 states. And I logged enough miles to circumnavigate the globe 5.5 times. But it was worth it. It was worth it. And we got extraordinary candidates. We flipped blue seats to red as we planned, and we kept this majority. We expect that the majority will be larger than last time. We still have a number of races outstanding, but we're very optimistic about those. And we are looking forward to governing in unified government beginning in January. It's true that on Tuesday, voters rejected what they really felt was the misery of the last 4 years. We're moving on and we're turning the page, and this is something that the American people desperately need and deserve. We are going to raise an America First banner above this place. And you saw a demographic shift that I was talking about on the campaign trail for over a year, with new demographics, new groups of persons who had not traditionally been with the Republican Party, who came on board with us because they believed in what we were saying. They believed the answers that we were providing for all the great challenges facing the country. And we made them a commitment to do that. And we will. And as the new members return now, we lay the groundwork for the next Congress, and we usher in this new day in America. Republicans in the House and Senate have a mandate. It's true. It was a decisive win across the nation. The American people want us to implement and deliver that America First agenda. And we have to do that while we have that energy and that excitement beginning on the very first day of the Congress in the new year.
I 100% agree. We definitely have to take advantage of this big jump. And again, we've got to make sure that we look into voting. All the registration systems, I want to see lawsuits immediately because we've already got the one Supreme Court case. If your state constitution specifies you have to be a citizen to vote, then we need to make sure any non-citizen votes that were cast are immediately withdrawn. We also need to make sure those people are removed from the registration system. I don't care if people complain. I don't care about the noise they make. If your Constitution says you must be a citizen to vote, and you're not a citizen and you voted, that must be removed. Period. No ifs, ands, or buts. This isn't democracy when you haven't earned it. You are a visitor to this nation, or likely a criminal that has come here illegally. You do not get to celebrate one of the fundamentals to becoming a citizen, which is the right to vote. You don't get that until you become a citizen and get sworn in at City Hall and pass the test that actually most Americans couldn't pass. Yeah, no, it's a little different. So we need a lot of things to happen. We kind of need them to happen quickly. I'm hoping the RNC, and I believe they are. I think we've got all the right people in the right places right now. This is where having faith in humanity. I was worried about the election. The election was a tough day for me. This part I think we got. The election, I was really worried about how bad they were going to cheat. I just I don't know. And we saw, we had the numbers though. We had the numbers. Now, just in case it matters, because this is for the Senate majority seat that Mitch McConnell's forcing this vote. Mitch McConnell's a bad, bad man. He is a deep state rhino. He's a pile of trash. So was John Thune, and so was John Cornyn. Rick Scott seems to be the only one that is out there that's probably okay. I really wish they would wait to do this until Trump is in office and we have the new people in office. Not that it would necessarily change who we choose, but it would be nice to have that Senate vote on it rather than the current Senate that is not there anymore, or at least in the same form and function. So John Thune and John Cornyn, both piles of trash. We know this. You should know that. So they should be disqualified. A lot of people are making noise about it because I think this is where the noise is needed. I think Trump's administration, it's just who cares? It's pointless to talk about. Trump's going to choose who he chooses. I trust Trump's going to do the right decision. Sure, it's fun to speculate and be like, it'd be cool if Kash Patel wins. Yeah, totally. Love to see him get some cool position like head of the CIA or whatever someone was saying. We'll see. That'll be decided. No, we need to make noise on this one. This is a Ripple-needed moment. John Thune, John Cornyn, piles of trash. In fact, here is Texas Senator John Cornyn earlier this year mocking Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton when he, like a whole lot of other people in the Bush, Rove, neocon, MIC war machine, thought they had Paxton successfully pinned down and were about to, kick him out of office or impeach him. And Senator John Cornyn said, "Hard to run from prison, Ken." So funny, John, you're a pile of shit. It's hard to run when you're not there anymore. Yeah, John Cornyn, definitely not. And, of course, the other bastard needs to go too, right? So both these guys, John Thune and John Cornyn, X's, big X's. Make sure your senators know that. Make sure they know that because this is going to be a bumpy ride, I say. Here's Kash Patel talking about how you clean up everything. I didn't realize there's like a crap ton of videos here. We're going to play this one, though.
You need a 24/7 declassification office, whatever you want to call it. Transparency, truth, whatever, I don't care. Sits in the White House, reports directly to you, and you take incoming from the United States of America. I want JFK. I want the 9/11 files. I want this. I want that. All the FBI, and this is a tool, this is something we didn't cover. What the deep state uses the most to cover up their corruption is an illegal application of the classification system. Remember the Lovebirds text from, this is a beauty, the Lovebirds text from FBI, DOJ land, Russiagate, Strzok and Page were texting each other. They were running the Russiagate investigation against Trump. They were the head of the counterintelligence unit at the FBI, and they're having an extramarital affair together. Can't make this stuff up. They're sending each other texts about how much they hate Trump and are going to create an insurance policy to stop Trump. Then we finally find those text messages. You know what the FBI and DOJ do for like a year? Redact them to congressional investigators and congressional men and women running the oversight of their agency. That's just one example. But it gets even better. Here's the deep state full circle. Just last week, do you know what Strzok and Page received from the Department of Justice?
What?
A $1.5 million payout to settle a lawsuit that Strzok and Page brought for the improper disclosure of their personal text messages on FBI phones. And the DOJ just rewarded them. They broke the law. They broke the chain of command. They broke every regulation there is in the FBI. They weaponized the system of justice against a political target they hated. We found those text messages, and we got them declassified finally in full when I became Deputy Director of National Intelligence. And the world has now seen them, and they can read them. And that's the best form of transparency. That's why I want this 24/7 declassification office. Don't have me regurgitate it to you. Read it. Get the documents, get the files, get the memos. But the deep state came full circle and gave these guys a payday for rigging a presidential election and breaking the law. So now you know what happens. That's step one. Step two, get America the truth. And that's what that office would be for.
Yeah, and the truth is what we need. It's going to set us free, right? I've definitely heard some rumors about the Brunson case moving forward, folks. I'm going to tell you, I think there's almost no chance of that happening, especially with the way things are playing out. Again, I think there's some very interesting people that continue to push very interesting thought processes, and they've been wrong about this one in particular, and they've said multiple times, this month it's going to happen, this month it's going to happen, this month it's going to happen. It hasn't happened yet, and I just don't think we're there as a populace to be able to accept that yet. I do think that case is coming someday, but I don't think it's here yet. I just don't think we've got the momentum. Not even close. Not even close. Not even with our, quote, red wave. So just keep that in mind, too. I don't feel like I actually checked this. No, I did, yes. Excelente. All right, Ezra Cohen posted this. There is only one semi-easy button for declassification, and that is a presidential executive order. If you aren't willing to press the easy button, you will have to fight through bureaucracy. Also, keep in mind, declassification is different than public release. So understand that, too, coupled with what Kash Patel was talking about. A lot of disclosure needs to happen. How that happens, how publicly facing that fully is, there's some levels to that probably, but for the most part, we're going to be moving forward in a good direction. Former Trump National Security Advisor Michael Flynn predicted that not all the 17 offices that make up the intelligence community will still be present. Says, I can't imagine that 2 years from now we're going to continue to have 17 intel agencies. He told this on a podcast he was on. John Solomon reports, I just cannot see that if we're going to move this country forward in a way that needs to be moved forward, where we're sort of in that shining city on the hill. Basically says we got to get rid of a bunch of these people. There's a lot of waste, overlap, stuff like that needs to go away. We're wasting trillions of dollars in government right now. We could have the best military, but we've got some weird overlaps there too. We're wasting money in a lot of projects and developments. Having Navy and Air Force develop similar craft at the same time is stupid. We could actually use those funds more intelligently and let one kind of go in a certain direction, maybe a fighter-specific aircraft, and then maybe the other's more of a, an attack or whatever, whatever the needs are. And then get those done and then cross-mingle them after. There's nothing wrong. I know some people would probably freak out for me saying this, but I don't think there's anything wrong with Air Force jets being used in the Marines or the Navy if it's a variant that works. If you can land an F-15 on a carrier, then friggin' hey, let's throw some shit on there and land it on a carrier. Now, again, the struts and a lot of things have to be way hardened. You've got to have multiple engines. So, again, there's a lot of concepts that come into play, but all said, we could do better, I think, if we got intelligent about it and stopped using the deep state as the means of moving forward. Huge. Trump is talking about saving America, and here's another great example.
Than ever before. And while working Americans catch up, we're going to put a temporary cap on credit card interest rates at 10%. We have no choice. They're getting 22, 25%. We can't let people have to pay 25% and 22% interest because they can't afford to pay off their credit card. We're going to cap it for a period of time at 10%. We will terminate the Green New Scam and spend the trillions and trillions of dollars of unspent dollars on roads, bridges, real infrastructure, and paying down debt, not fake infrastructure that has caused massive inflation, along with the energy. That bill was just a disaster, just trillions of dollars. That's what caused all of the inflation. Those
trillions of dollars, and that's why 25% of our dollar lost. You lost 25% of your buying power with the dollar. It's huge. Essentially, the equivalent of now every dollar, you just remove a quarter, and now you just got 75 cents. Like what you could have bought for a dollar, now you can't. You need another quarter to get that dollar, right? That pack of gum or whatever. More Donald Trump announcing, just more good stuff. Anyway, check it out.
tuition costs at colleges and universities have been exploding, and I mean absolutely exploding, while academics have been obsessed with indoctrinating America's youth. The time has come to reclaim our once great educational institutions from the radical left, and we will do that. Our secret weapon will be the college accreditation system. It's called accreditation for a reason. The accreditors are supposed to ensure that schools are not ripping off students and taxpayers, but they have failed totally. When I return to the White House, I will fire the radical left accreditors that have allowed our colleges to become dominated by Marxist maniacs and lunatics. We will then accept applications for new accreditors who will impose real standards on colleges once again and once and for all. These standards will include defending the American tradition and Western civilization, protecting free speech, eliminating wasteful administrative positions that drive up costs incredibly, removing all Marxist diversity, equity, and inclusion bureaucrats, offering options for accelerated and low-cost degrees, providing meaningful job placement and career services, and implementing college entrance and exit exams to prove that students are actually learning and getting their money's worth. Furthermore, I will direct the Department of Justice to pursue federal civil rights cases against schools that continue to engage in racial discrimination and schools that persist in explicit unlawful discrimination under the guise of equity will not only have their endowments taxed, but through budget reconciliation, I will advance a measure to have them fined up to the entire amount of their endowment. A portion of the seized funds will then be used as restitution for victims of these illegal and unjust policies that hurt our country so badly. Colleges have gotten hundreds of billions of dollars from hardworking taxpayers, and now we are going to get this anti-American insanity out of our institutions once and for all. We are going to have real education in America. Thank you.
Right on. Love it. Susie Wiles, she is the next White House Chief of Staff. She privately told a group of Republican donors on Monday that President-elect Donald J. Trump would move on his first day in office to reinstate several executive orders from Mr. Trump's first term that President Biden had revoked, according to two people in the room who insisted on anonymity. We'll see, but doesn't sound like this is too far off from the truth. The comments she made, she basically said she's not going to get into specifics on it. Emphasized to the group that the window for Mr. Trump to revolutionize government was more like 2 years rather than 4. Very true. That's what I think as well. We've got to do a lot in less than 2 years because that election's going to matter. And if we do anything close to what we think we can do and what we expect we are going to do, we're going to see vast improvements in all the metrics. And so if we have vast improvements in all the metrics, then it doesn't matter what this group of weird woke people say. The numbers are there. Black community will be doing significantly better. The Hispanic and Latino community will be doing significantly better. The Asian communities will be doing significantly better. And the white communities will not be the evil scorn of the world anymore. And we'll be doing better. It's going to be magnificent and hard work. Yeah, this war ain't over. This war ain't over. I don't know if it's going to feel like what the election felt like. I don't think. I feel like we got through the hardest part. I think. Again, don't put your dukes down because we're far from done. So again, Susie Wiles, Chief of Staff, confirmed. Lee Zeldin, EPA Director, confirmed. Rep. Thomas Massey, USDA Director, confirmed. Stephen Miller, Deputy Chief of Staff for Policy, confirmed. Tom Homan, Border Czar, confirmed. We're going to be hearing from two of those guys in a sec. Elise Stefanik, UN Ambassador, confirmed. So maybe he's on Kash Patel, RFK Jr., and Rick Grinnell. We're not sure where these guys are going to go. Reasonably sure they're going somewhere in the administration. We'll see. I'm not going to speculate. I don't even care what it said next to them because I'm just not, that's not even... I don't want to be putting any public stuff on it because Trump's going to do what's right for this. He knows what he's doing. He knows what he needs to do. I don't. I've never frickin' been a president. So, no. And I know nobody else on all these lists know what it's like to be president. They've got a much better understanding of it than I do. Yes, they've been next to the president. They're not the president. Trump knows what he's doing. I ain't going to second guess it at this point. I worked my ass off to get him in office. I'm trusting him to do the job I elected him to do and to do it better than anybody else probably ever in the history of presidents. Here's Steve Miller. This is a while back in the past, not horribly long ago, but just kind of, this is Steve Miller. This is the dude that, what's he, let's check. I forgot what Stephen Miller's going to be in charge of. Deputy Chief of Staff for Policy. This is the guy that Trump just
And you wrote
confirmed.
that in on Pence. You played it all the way up to January 6th. You know what happened after that. A lot of other people have been convicted of crimes, Stephen. A
lot of innocent people have been persecuted by a corrupt system. What kind of corrupt system throws Republican lawyers in jail for offering good, sound legal advice, but does nothing with secretaries of state who plainly violated their own state laws and constitutions? How many people are in jail right now Joe Biden and Kamala Harris are the #1 traffickers of children, girls into sex slavery on planet Earth.
Okay.
How many people are in jail
we've
for that?
gone this far,
How
and
many
we've
people are
gone
in
gone
jail
this far
for
in an
illegal
exchange.
censorship
We're not doing just anything you want to rip off the internet that's false, and we're not doing defamation here. As you know, there's other Trump allies who've gotten a lot of trouble for that. We're not doing that here. You want to talk about democracy. You sound right now. I'll let you respond. And we are running over on time, but you sound more outraged about what. Stephen, I'm going to finish the question. I'll give you time. You sound tonight more outraged about what you allege is that double standard, and I've given you time to explain it, than the people who battered the cops and led to deaths and stormed the Capitol. I know in your deposition, because I looked at it, you said you were against the violence. You haven't gotten around to saying that here tonight. Again, it's your time when you answer. But you sound more outraged about that than the actual convicted sedition at the Capitol that day, which, by the way, Donald Trump has floated the idea that he would pardon the seditionists who stormed the Capitol violently. We're running over on time. I will give you a chance to respond to all that.
Yes. I, President Trump, and everyone else have been repeatedly clear about the fact that any violence that took place was unacceptable. That is completely separate and different from throwing a grandmother in jail for 5 years who just said a prayer in a hallway after being ushered in by a Capitol police officer and then left. The weaponization of the government. There's a guy who posted a meme about Hillary Clinton who's in jail right now. Mackey. The weaponization of government is the beginning of the end of American democracy. And every one of your viewers and listeners should understand, when you have a country where you can throw people in jail for violations of misinformation, for engaging in free speech, for engaging in good legal advice, for challenging illegitimate election results, you're not a free country anymore. Right. And I'll tell you the violence I'm outraged about. Right now, there are moms whose daughters are dead and murdered because Kamala Harris let in their killers. And when you have on your program the mother of Jocelyn Nungry, or the mother of Laken Riley, or the mother of any of the other victims, the mother of the girl who was raped in Central Park, any of those families, then you'll be in a position to talk about violence and suffering and death.
I told you I'd give you time. We're not doing a comparison of me to you on everything.
Yeah. This is the guy we want fighting. This is one of the dudes. Again, I'm trusting Trump. I don't trust any. I mean, well, I take it back. Some of the rumors maybe are accurate. I don't trust most of them, though, especially when I see who's leaking them. A lot of them are meant to lead us into directions where we get pissed off if it's not that. Or we get pissed off at Trump because they're picking people that are friggin' total rhinos or total deep state. Oh, Trump's probably going to pick this guy. And then people are starting to debate it. But it's from alleged anonymous sources on Axios or Politico or AP or whatever. So just be careful where you're getting stuff. And if they don't cite where they're getting it from and they just state it and it's somebody you trust, dude, I mean, that's always why I've been really big about trying to show my stories. Like, you got to show your stories, man. You have to. I have to be able to assess what you're saying. You can't just have an opinion and then act like you've got facts to back up a crazy-ass opinion. Doesn't work. Donald Trump announced, I am pleased to announce that highly respected former governor of Arkansas, or Arkansas, as I like to call it, Mike Huckabee, has been nominated to be the United States ambassador to Israel. Mike has been a great public servant, governor, and leader in faith for many years. He loves Israel and the people of Israel, and likewise, the people of Israel love him. Mike will work tirelessly to bring about peace in the Middle East. Well done. Well done. I just love the fact that we are here. This is huge. Ohio Governor Mike DeWine is considering Vivek Ramaswamy, Jane Timken to fill J.D. Vance's Senate seat. He sounds like he's possibly open to what Trump's opinions are, or if it has to be specifically someone that's MAGA, which it frickin' better be. And if that is the case, then Vivek is the person he would and should go with. Jane Timken is not necessarily of that ilk. So we'll see. We're putting some spotlights on this as well to make sure people understand that this governor better fill this properly. Let's just put it that way, right? So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Ben Carson jockeying for the HHS secretary in Trump's cabinet. Sources say. I like the direction they're coming at it with, and that Ben's kind of asking for it. I'd like to see him involved. He says he definitely doesn't want to be involved in housing and urban development. Don't blame him. So we'll see where things go from here. But yeah, he knows he's not going to get like RFK Jr.'s spot. So Trump, I think, made some promises, but also has to do what's best for the positions needed, you know? So we'll see. We'll see where Ben ends up, but sure, Ben's going to be in a position somewhere. Trump expected to move Space Command headquarters out of Colorado in his first week. That will be extraordinarily significant. They're going to move it to Alabama. Why? Well, one, it's just a much more favorable area to the world. Two, a lot of launches happen out of Florida and Houston, which puts it much closer to some of that. Three, there's already a great deal of infrastructure there, and it's a much better place to have this infrastructure because Colorado hates America. So Colorado is not where we're going to house one of our most prized armed forces. Armed forces? That's good. Yeah, I like that one. Let's say that. Needless to say, the armed forces that have many branches, this particular branch deserves to be in a better place than Colorado. We'll see if there's truth to this, right? Again, this isn't Trump saying it. This is rumors. But it would be odd to, well, it wouldn't be odd. It would be interesting to see if some of these places get closed down that used to have very special stuff in their states, but because they've made choices, especially Colorado, this election, cheating, any state that from the top down cheated is going to get bastardized by Trump. You will be changed forever because of the decisions you made. There is no, oh, what are you going to do? I'm going to remove something that brought large amounts of money into your state. It's now gone. Huge tax revenue gone. Huge. Not happening anymore. So, yes, Donald Trump doing some more talks. Oh, this is them talking about him, the judge delaying. A little long, but it was actually pretty good. So let's play this.
It was really only brought in the first place to try to prevent him from being elected. And since it didn't succeed, I think it should land on the dustbin of history, but that's just my view of it.
Andy, this is just, okay, I have good, dumb questions. So does he have to continue to use private lawyers for this, or can the White House counsel's office take over?
Well, it's not necessarily either or, Dana, because he's got personal interests and there could also be public interests. So his personal interest is obviously his criminal liability. The public interest is whether having the proceedings interferes with his ability to carry out his constitutional duties as president. So since there's two sets of interests, there's no problem with having two sets of lawyers who work in their lanes on how this all plays out.
So, Andy, what I'm hearing you say, give me a course correction if necessary, is that in the year 2029, when this case is brought back or continued, let's say, he will stand a very good chance at the appellate level to have this case appealed and potentially thrown out. Is that what you're saying?
That's right, Bill. And, you would pick up, I presume, again, I haven't read it yet, but I presume you would pick up right where we are now. And where we are now is we have a pending immunity issue. And as we saw in the Washington federal case, immunity, because it has to be fully litigated before you do anything else in a criminal case, or at least that's the way it's supposed to happen, it could take a long time just to sort that out before you get to all the other issues in the case.
Well, I'm just, it's kind of letting it all sink in. You think that, I don't know Judge Merchan. I don't really know New York sort of internal politics here, but, Letitia James, she was full steam ahead, and you made a point in the 9 a.m. hour that she does have political ambitions. I don't think this judge does, but does a ruling like this keep him in the good graces of the judicial teams around New York, sort of his social circles?
I thought, Dana, from the beginning that he's the kind of guy who, even when it's obvious he's made a misstep, he has a hard time admitting it. Like, it was clear, for example, when he let Stormy Daniels testify that was a catastrophe that he shouldn't have allowed to happen. And instead of saying that was a mistake on my part, he blamed everybody else in the room for allowing it to happen. So he's not a guy who easily admits that he was wrong. It seems to me that this ruling allows him to continue that record. Basically, he doesn't have to deal with Trump's claims of error. He doesn't have to deal with the immunity issue. He's the one who let the potentially immunized evidence into the case. Everybody on the planet knew that the Supreme Court was looking at this issue, and there was a chance that they were going to rule in President Trump's favor. So they were playing with fire by allowing this evidence into the case. He's the guy who let it in. So it seems to me that by freezing things in place and not having to thereby grapple with Trump's claims of error or the immunity question, he gets to basically not admit error, and everybody gets to carry on.
You know, you just wonder down the road, Andy, what does the world look like? What's the country look like? Merchan is 62 years old. He could retire before this case is finalized.
Yeah. But it's such a silly case. I mean, the whole thing is just preposterous. And, you know, the fact that they brought it 7 or 8 years after most of the facts in the case happened, and it was brought by a district attorney who ordinarily pleads felonies down to misdemeanors. Here he took a nothing and it blew it into 34 felonies. The whole thing was so unabashedly political. I think you have to hope that 4 years from now, with a long look at it, people will, instead of saying, we got to get that case back on track, they'll say, how did we ever let that happen in the first place?
You know, you think, Dana.
I mean, just so many aspects of this. And the other side of it, too, is states like, I don't know, say like Arizona, for example, or even Georgia, for example, where people did vote for Trump as the president as a democracy standpoint. And so when you have attorney generals in states that are still literally trying to do things that are illegal, and you've got this whole group that's proven, I support this MAGA character, we're going to have attorneys generals that are going to be nuked in their very next elections and or impeached. Let's not forget our power of impeachment. If people literally are doing a piss poor job and we have proof of it, boom, let's kick their aces out. A lot of things are going to happen over the next 2 years. A lot of things. This is the biggest moment ever. This is kind of, I think, here's a weird way. I don't know if any of you guys have ever jumped off a diving board. It's kind of a fun analogy because I think it kind of works. This is like we just jumped on the edge of the diving board, right? When you sag it down before it springs you up. That sag down all the way was the election. And I think since the election, it's now starting to spring it back up. And we're about to go to heights we've never been before. We are changing the world. I can't say that big enough, especially my audience. You guys are extraordinarily powerful. That's why I'm lucky enough to have you in my wonderful world where I can hopefully influence and help. We've got powerful products to help with virals. The viral, I don't know. They got a lot. They got first aid kits. They got amazing stuff. All their med kits you should check out. They got med kits. They got antibiotics. Like seriously, things that you should have in your household. Especially like we don't know where we could just get cut off, or maybe the tariffs with China, and then China's like, we're not going to give you antibiotics anymore. And Trump's like, I was expecting that you'd say that. We've already started ramping up production here. Thank you. And there might be small hiccups. Doesn't have to hurt, and you don't necessarily have to trust the government to help. You got it in your own hands. They've got med kits that are amazing. I also want to mention the supplements, the Spike Support Formula. They've got amazing supplements all over the place. Ultimate Spike Detox. If you want to try to get these Spike supplements or Spike Support out, spikes. So if you got the spike, say you rolled up your sleeve, or say you are married to or live with someone that rolled up their sleeve, right? And you're worried about the fact that they're creating spike proteins and they're probably getting inside of you, right? This actually helps. These bind to these spike cells, if you will, and there's that cleavage site. This is bonded. It's made so it specifically finds that and goes, oh, I found you. And they just bind up together happily, and they both go away, and you get pee them out or whatever, and life is groovy. That's how you get them out. This actually helps because it finds them, and it like binds to them, and then it's like, oh, bye-bye, and then phew, out they go, right? So powerful stuff. Check them out. They've got also a lot of great stuff. Bison organs if you want to get organ meat inside of you, and immune support, kids naturals, energy, sleep support, digestion, metabolism. They've got so much stuff. These guys are awesome. It's The Wellness Company, twc.health/OTF. And then, let's say it again, twc.health/OTF. Contagion emergency kit's the other one I love to point out. That they got the first aid travel kit, first aid emergency kit. They've got a travel emergency kit. These are good things to have. You should always have a first aid kit, a fire extinguisher, like maybe multiples depending. Like I've got two. I got one up here and I got one down in the kitchen. Like pretty most likely places a fire could break out. You've got to be prepared for those things, right? Always. Go to twc.health/OTF, twc.health/OTF. Check out the contagion kit for sure. These things are incredible, and you can get refills on them within 2 years for a reduced price. That's awesome. So that means if one of the people in your family, this is supposedly good for one person, this prescription, if you will, I don't know. I'm going to be honest about it. I honestly think this could support two. If you both got sick at the same time and it was really severe, whatever. But if one of you gets sick and the other doesn't, awesome. Get this thing refilled. Get a refill on it. It's a little less expensive, and booyah. What this has is ivermectin. It's got 25 tablets. It's got hydroxychloroquine, 20 tablets. It's got generic Z-Pak, 12 tablets. It's got generic Tamiflu, 10 tablets. And it's got this generic Pulmicort, which is like a respiratory thingy, and the nebulizer. It's got 5 vials of those. This thing is antiviral. It pisses me off when I was growing up that antibiotics were given if you had some sort of infection, then you could get medicine for it. But if you had a flu or a virus or a cold or whatever the stupid shit you called it, well, there was no medicine for that, was there? No, there was nighttime sniffling, sneezing, coughing, achy, stuffy head fever so you could rest medicine, but it never cured you, did it? No. Dealt with all the symptoms. And they made a cool little logo out of it, jingle out of it. This cures virus problems. Cures it. Heals you. In days, oftentimes. Seriously. twc.health/OTF. Dr. Drew Pinsky, Dr. McCullough, and another doctor are involved. And this is how this company came about. You literally get a prescription. It's done legally. There's nothing shady or weird about it. It's done properly, and there's other memberships and some really cool stuff. Elite memberships, premier memberships. You got prescriptions that you can do. Talk to a doctor. Medical emergency kits. There's just a lot. They're awesome. twc.health/OTF. Of course, a good, proud sponsor. You're helping the channel as well at the same time, keeping your family and yourself healthy. twc.health/OTF. twc.health/OTF. And take care of your health. Chinese national was arrested again after multiple efforts to enter Mar-a-Lago. This is our Chinese man that keeps trying to get into Mar-a-Lago. They refuse to deport him, apparently. He's here on a student visa out in California, but he somehow got out to the East Coast, and then he's been Ubering in and out, apparently. But some say he's mentally unstable. He was in a mental institution for a week after the last time he tried to get into Mar-a-Lago. Now he's done it again. And it could be like the Chinese Rain Man or the Chinese Forrest Gump, which would be interesting, right? Because Forrest Gump beat the Chinese in ping pong because they're really good at it. Can you imagine a Chinese Forrest Gump? Oh my God, the whole world would get crazy. Crazy, folks. Immigration lawyers prepare to battle Trump in court again, of course. This is just going to be hardcore. This might be where some EOs are coming in, and we're going to have to smooth out the outside of it, where it's like, look, he's protecting the border. That's illegal. You can't do that. Yeah, he kind of can. And we've got people just rushing across the border. That's not cool. Barricades need to go up. This needs to stop. If they're cutting parts of the fence, we need to get that fence back up. We need to get back to building the fence again. Hopefully, whoever bought the steel will give it back to us, but I know it's rusted so heavily we probably can't even use it now. Maybe I don't know what they got to do. But yes, this is a mess. If you are in the country illegally, you shouldn't feel comfortable. Tom Homan's doing some good stuff. I want to play this. It's worth it, I think. It's 7 minutes, but I'm going to play a little fast. Check it out.
Are you planning on deporting American citizens?
No, exactly not. Look, the view, it's like the island of misfit toys. They don't know what the hell they're talking about. President Trump has made it clear. We will prioritize public safety threats and national security threats first. And that's what the focus will be. And there's over 1.5 convicted criminal aliens in this country with final orders removal that we're going to be looking for. There's thousands of gang members, illegal gang members we're going to be looking for. Now, I'm going to say, if you're in the country illegally, you shouldn't feel comfortable. Absolutely not. I won't feel comfortable if I'm in the country illegally. If I'm in some other country illegally, I'm not going to be comfortable. You shouldn't be comfortable either, because when you enter this country illegally, you have committed a crime. You are a criminal, and you're not off the table.
Cartels, gang members. We have had dozens and dozens of Americans that have been murdered. I'll scroll their names again. We have had dozens of Americans, including children, that have been raped by Harris Biden unvetted illegals. We have hundreds and hundreds of Americans victims of violent crime. We have a fentanyl crisis. We have an opioid crisis. We have cartels. We have gang members. We have 13,000 illegal immigrant murderers inside our country. We have known terrorists inside our country. We have more than 15,000 convicted rapists and sex offenders inside our country. More than 2,500 kidnappers inside our country. Or all told, more than 400,000 criminal illegal immigrants, including known terrorists. They're here, but we don't know where they are. How are we going to find them to get rid of them?
Look, ICE is very good at what they do. We have a targeting system. I can't really talk about it on the air because it's law enforcement sensitive, but we're going to find them. And look, we're going to go get them. I saw today numerous governors from sanctuary states saying they're going to step in the way. They better get the hell out of the way. Either you help us or get the hell out of the way, because ICE is going to do their job. We're going to take the handcuffs off ICE that the Biden administration put on them and let ICE what they do best. And let me say this, back to the viewer, Joe Biden. They promised, this administration promised, they're going to concentrate on the criminal aliens. That was a priority. Secretary Mayorkas said that. I looked at the stats today. The removal of criminal aliens is down 74% from President Trump. We have more criminals here than we ever had. So we got plenty of targets out there, and the men and women of this new administration are going to go look for them. They're going to look for them in sanctuary cities. The sanctuary cities don't want to help, get out of the way. I'll double the workforce in that sanctuary city. We're going to do our job. Despite the politics, we're doing it. So get used to it, because we're coming.
Let me ask you this. Do you like the idea of maybe giving a grace period where people that did not respect our laws, borders, sovereignty, that maybe you give them 2 or 3 months and you say you can self-report and we will help deport you. We will send you back to your home country. And if you do that, we'll put money in your pocket so you can rebuild your life, which would be a lot cheaper than paying for 3 nights at a 4-star hotel in New York and giving them a debit card. And in a year, after a year or 2 years or 3 years, whatever it is, you can then apply to come into the country legally. If you don't self-report, deport, then you will never be given an opportunity at citizenship. And when you leave, you will never be invited back. You will never be able to apply to come into the country. Sound like a good idea or no?
Criminals and gang members get no grace period. But while we're out prioritizing the public safety threats and national security threats, if you want to self-deport, you should self-deport. Because, again, we know who you are, and we're going to come and find you. So if you want to self-deport, that's fine. But criminals and gang members, they get no favors from this administration. You came to this country illegally, which is a crime. You committed crimes against United States citizens, some heinous crimes. You get no grace period, so we're coming for you. But for those others, the non-criminals, if you want to self-deport, I'm all for it. Because when they self-report, they can put their orders, put everything in order, their family business, if they got homes or whatever, they can put all that in order and leave with their family altogether. It makes perfect sense for the ones that are not criminals.
How are they going to get home? How do they get home?
Well, the ones we're going to arrest, we'll put on an airplane and send them home. And the ones that want to go home on their own, they found their way across the world to come to the greatest nation on earth. They can find their way home. Either that, or I'll give them a free airline ticket that we put them on our airplane and we'll take them home. Either way, it's up to them. If we arrest them, they come on our airplane, Sean. If they want to go on their own airplane, I welcome it.
Let me ask you this. If I went down to the border and I had a truck and I picked up people that were known illegal immigrants, entered the country illegally, and I put them in the truck and I fed them and I said to them, where would you like to go? And they said, this state, that state. And I were to drive them to whatever location they were asking for. Would I not be guilty of human trafficking? Would I not be guilty of aiding and abetting and law breaking? In all likelihood, if Harris and Biden, if their DOJ found out I did that, well, what are the odds they would have arrested me and put me in jail for as long as they possibly could, probably the rest of my life?
You'd be arrested and charged with a felony. You'd be in violation of Title 8, United States Code 1324, alien smuggling. I put a lot of people in prison for that, for violation of that statute. That's what's supposed to happen. And you're exactly right. This administration is complicit in the smuggling of millions of people into this country. And we look at just the children. We have over 500,000 children that were smuggled in this country by criminal cartels that this administration released to so-called sponsors. 500,000. And they can't find them. And that's something I want to talk about real quickly. President Trump is committed. This is just not a deportation operation that we're targeting the worst of the worst first. We're going to find those 500,000 children. We're going to save them. We'll put them back to their families. That's what President Trump's committed to doing.
And you're talking about the children that were used by criminal illegal immigrants that don't even know these children, and they use them to get into the country. We know that's happened on a large scale, correct?
Absolutely. Children have been rented. by the criminal cartels to single males, go across the border, be released, the child goes back, gets re-rented again. And we know what happens to these children, Sean. And look, the illegal aliens coming across the border, people need to understand, 31% of women that make that journey get raped by criminal cartels. Children get raped. I've talked to little girls as young as 9 that have been raped multiple times. These cartels are animals, and that's why President Trump's going to take them off the face of the earth. They have killed more Americans than every terrorist organization in the world. And President Trump is committed to calling them terrorist organization and using the full might of the United States Special Operations to take them out.
So many things come to mind during all that. I think after the 2-year mark, we're definitely probably looking at getting involved with the Mexican military to remove the cartels. At that point, I think we've got to get through that 2-year mark. I think leading up to that is when we're going to do a lot of the mass deportations. For people that are out there that are like, damn, that's kind of crazy, right? Like, what are you talking about? First off, a lot of people are saying, how do you pay for it? Well, if we stop giving them free debit cards and stuff, then yeah, that pays for itself. But the way I see it, I know people that aren't necessarily legal. Here's the way I would say it. I mean, I'm not going to narc them out. Get out of here. That's fucked up is what that is. They're good people. They work hard, right? And some people belong here and deserve to be here. And in some cases are even paying taxes and everything else, which is fantastic. We will say the people that commit crimes or have committed crimes, they're gone. I don't just mean the fact that they're here illegally as a crime. That is a crime, no matter what. You can hold that over their head, but that's not what we're talking about. If they've committed, if they're felons, if they've raped, if they've done any of these things at all, gone, out, history. If they're known gang members, known criminals, known anything along those lines, out, gone, don't care. And I would honestly cherry pick a little and say, if you're illegal and were here and also chose to vote in this election, out, gone. Because you shouldn't have. Because you're now influencing an election you don't belong in. So I think there is some to be said around a lot of these topics. Here's our border czar, the dude we just saw, handling AOC. And I think he kind of handles her well. And she's obviously pushing her narrative, tries to anyways, but this guy's good. He's going to handle the press well. And I think that's part of what Trump knows needs to happen. You've got to be somebody that can be no nonsense and basically be a dick in a nice way. And I think that's what this dude is. He's awesome. I look up to him right now, frankly.
Mr. Holman, your name is on this. Is this correct?
Yes, I signed that memo.
So you are the author of the family separation policy?
I am not the author of this memo.
You're not the author, but you signed the memo?
Yes, a zero tolerance memo.
So you provided the official recommendation to Secretary Nielsen on for the United States to pursue family separation?
I gave Secretary Nielsen numerous recommendations on how to secure the border and save lives.
But it says here that you gave her numerous options, but the recommendation was option 3, family separation.
What I'm saying, this is not the only paper where we've given the Secretary numerous options to secure the border and save lives.
And so the recommendation, of the many that you recommended family separation.
I recommended zero tolerance.
Which includes family separation.
The same as is with every U.S. citizen parent gets arrested when they're with a child.
Zero tolerance was interpreted as the policy that separated children from their
If I get arrested for DUI and I have a young child in the car, I'm going to be separated. When I was a police officer in New York and I arrested a father for domestic violence, I separated that father
Mr.
from his
Holman,
family.
with all due respect, legal asylees are not charged with any crime.
When you're into the country illegally, it's violation 8 United States Code 1325.
Seeking asylum is legal.
If you want to seek asylum and go through the port of entry, do it the legal way. The Attorney General of the United States has made that clear.
Okay.
And that's it. That's what a lot of these people don't get when we're going to ripple. They don't understand that, look, if you're an asylee or asylum seeker, you go through the port of entry. They'll do the proper paperwork. Things will be vetted, whatever. We have track of you. We know what's up. When you just come across the border and claim you're an asylum seeker, no. You are entering illegally. You are an illegal alien. I don't care what you claim your reasons are. You didn't do it the right way. You didn't even do the thing you could have sort of done legally the right way. You'd still be here not as a citizen and not allowed to vote, but you'd have a chance of actually becoming a citizen. When you come across the border, and you don't go through the port of entry, well, you forgo those rights. Sorry. If you claim what you say is true, Democrat person, then you must understand that they need to do it the proper way. You can't just do it the wrong way. You guys seem really fond of just doing things however you see fit versus the rules. Rules are important, right? At least I think of that when I talk to my Democrat mom. I had friggin' all sorts of stupid rules when I grew up. I had a curfew until I moved out. I was probably 22 when I moved out. It's like getting the hell out of Dodge, man. Trump's not even in office yet, and rogue organizations are already refusing to carry out his orders. Los Angeles Police Department chief refuses Donald Trump's upcoming deportation orders. Please understand something very important, and I'm going to say this for my sheriff friends in this state. Sheriff get voted in. They are accountable to the people. The police department is a state police force. There is a large difference, truly, between the two. I am not going to claim to be an expert on it, but I am going to give my sheriff friends, I got a couple buddies that are sheriff. One's retired sheriff, but I have a sheriff department very close to my house. I know a few of them. Wonderful people. Wonderful people. They're accountable to us voters. We vote the sheriff in, not the LAPD chief. Fuck what he thinks. Chief douchehole. Enjoy how your city plays out during these riots that are coming, because I think LA is going to be in the middle of that. So you go there, Trump PD. You're probably going to be calling in the Los Angeles sheriff to help you, I'm sure. We'll see. I feel like it's almost like the Marines Navy thing, but I think it's worse, actually. It's probably more like Coast Guard Navy. Maybe. Supreme Court on Tuesday declined to let Mark Meadows shift his Georgia election subversion case to federal court, blocking him. Look at how long this has been dragged out. I think that's the victory here. Mark Meadows is like, all right, whatever. And again, when Trump gets into office, I kind of wonder how, when you commute somebody, what if they're in for a state law like that? The states will be like, we don't have to accept a federal commutation. We don't have to care what you think, Trump. I don't know. Maybe. Who knows? Maybe he puts pressure on the governors to do it for him. Trump's the art of the deal. He's an expert at this stuff. So, the fact that Giuliani's still scraping along, I hope the dude can manage this and hang on to his properties just long enough, because this is insanity. And there's no way those two chicks in Georgia deserve $150 million. No chance in hell. That is so extraordinary. Actually, that's my favorite place. Trump and Netanyahu envoy met about the Middle East wars, supposedly. Now, they're guesstimating or claiming to know what they're talking about. Look, here's the thing. Obviously, they're trying to figure out how's this going to play out. What has to be done before you're in office? What has to get done after you're in office, because you probably want to take credit for it? Makes sense? How do you want that to play out? There was probably some of that kind of discussion happening. Communications done maybe on paper. That was one of the things. Couriers was one of the things he did with some of the leaders, because he knew anything else he did would be hacked. It's what he did with Kim Jong-un. And I'm sure he's still doing similar things. If Netanyahu says this dude's trustworthy, send a picture of him and everything else, and maybe a voice print and all sorts of crazy shit, I'm sure there's some crazy shit, right? Fingerprints and everything else. Put your hand on the thing and then say the passphrase that you know you're supposed to say, and then the machine will know if it's correct. And then if it is, all right, here's the note. Take it back to him. If you open it, I'll kill you. Yeah, it's like that kind of thing. Who knows how it plays out? I'm sure it's a little more cool than that, but they're going to have discussions, and private messages will be shifted. So the game is very different than the media would portray it, that's for sure. Putin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov compliments Trump on his peace efforts. Quote, at least Trump speaks about peace. He doesn't say anything about a confrontation, doesn't say anything about wishing to inflict a strategic defeat to Russia, and it favorably distinguishes him. Favorably distinguishes him. Very good stuff. Like that. I like that Peskov guy. He seems like a nice guy. You know, he talks with a Russian accent. Woke Archbishop of Canterbury, Justin Welby. He resigned amid child sex abuse cover-up. It's the Church of England, so this is how I'm sure he talks. Is something gross like this. He's got like dolphins like doing their own selves. Oh, that's cute. That's the 666. That's the Google sign on his frickin' hat. You guys see that? That is the 66. That's the Google sign on his hat. What a fucked up shits he got going on here. You gotta have others. Church of England, what is up with you? That is the 666. Ay, ay, ay. I never noticed that before. I've never seen the Archbishop of Canterbury. I've heard of him. I thought it was like a character in a book or some shit. I didn't realize I was like Canterbury's probably a real place. I'm a stupid... You know, of all the countries I am ignorant about, I'm probably worse on England, right? Like, seriously. In Wales and Ireland and all this stuff. Like, I got Irish family, but I know they... yeah, they've done things to cars and stuff. Like, yeah, there's been a little bit of a riffraff there. Whatever. Archbishop of Canterbury. He had to quit because of covering up child abuse. Sexual child abuse. Not just him, probably others. Maybe him. Who knows? He's the Archbishop of Canterbury. A woman who claims she once saw minors dressed up like sexy Harajuku Barbies. I am not really in the Barbie circle, so the Harajuku Barbie I did not actually get. Yeah, no, missing that one. Yeah. But supposedly, this might ring a bell. The picture that this individual had shared shows someone that seems physically endowed somewhat, like there could be adults, or at least old enough, maybe. But she called them little people, but she wasn't sure. They looked like children, but maybe had bodies like not children, and who knows what freaky shit Diddy's bringing to his party. Who knows what weird... Think about this, okay? This is just... guys, most of you have never thought down the rabbit hole, really, about these kinds of people. Some of them have freak kids that they literally rent out amongst themselves, amongst the families they're a part of. They literally rent their, let's call them freak kids out, maybe a kid that you gave a breast implant to at a young age, so they looked like they had boobs when they were 8, 9, 10. Think about it. This happens. Told you, I've met a person specifically in the families that it's insane what happens in these families. Think of Biden and what he did with his, what's the one daughter, right? The one he took showers with that wrote the Ashley, right? That kind of shit. Ashley was probably passed around. Ashley was probably taken to some of these parties. There was probably a Kool-Aid for the kids. And Ashley was probably a party favorite. They are very messed up from the molestations that occur. Or just plate rapes or inappropriate sex or, I don't know, call it what you want. I want to remind you guys of Truth Threads. It's been a little bit since I talked about my awesome merch. I wanted to kind of give it a flat line for a second and get you guys back in action on this. I want to get more pictures. I've already done 2 videos. I want to do a third one. I'm honestly short. I honestly need probably, I don't know, about 15 videos. 15 to 20 pictures, I should say. So, I'm missing a bunch. So, hopefully, you guys will check out truththreads.shop. Truththread.shop. It's on the screen, thank God. Truththread.shop. Got some great Dan Radio style merch. The hats, of course, we're in it right now. Awesome. Love it. DRS. That's what the whole thing's going on there. Also got the Great Awakening. Be a part of that. Got a number of different ways you can get that. We also got cool tumblers. We've also got the 9/11 stuff. We got 3 different kind of cool little lines of stuff that's it's very specific towards events. It's very patriotic. It's got a lot of information on the back always, so it's kind of cool. So when you're standing in line at a place, people are reading it, so you're kind of like I don't want to say a walking billboard, but kind of like you're an informant producer. You're an information helper. You're an odd ripple maker everywhere you go. And so there's a lot of cool ways you can do that. They've got the Never Forget 9/11 and Inside Job. That's a fun one to play. There's all sorts of facts and figures. They've also got the Ephesians 6:11, put on the armor of God, the fight, the whole thing when Trump got shot. And of course, the 5G warfare. All these things we have like in the basically the sweatshirts, the long sleeve, like we've got it in all the different kinds of, so whatever shirts you're seeing, they got it. Click on them, you can see the back. The back's got some really cool stuff in a lot of these. So again, never forget 9/11, 6/11 Ephesians, and of course the 5G warfare. Go to truththread.shop. That's truththread.shop. Helping out the channel, helping out a good friend of the channel and her family. She's the one that prints the shirts and stuff. It's basically her business. And she's just kind to me in return. So we've got a fun situation to help the channel and help you guys inform the world. Go to truththread.shop, truththread.shop. A lot happening, guys. We need to stay strong. We need to keep moving forward. We need to remember that we're a part of the solution. There's no backing down. There's no, you can take pauses here every second and every once in a while. I mean, again, but we're not done. Not even close. Any of you that have put your guards down, seriously, no. Put your armor of God back on. You're probably someone that took it off. Oh, I don't want it to get rusty in the shower. Dude, right? Like, come on. Keep it on. We got a lot going on, and we've got to keep the noise going. We've got to continue to amp this up further. And eventually we're going to see some chaos probably ensue from the other side. We'll see how this all plays out. Don't know. A lot of it's up to them. A lot of choices to be made. I don't want to necessarily aggravate it, so I'm hoping we don't. If we tone it down a little bit, then they're just going to kind of self-explode or self-implode, and they won't necessarily burn down cities, which would be kind of a good thing in the big picture. We'll get there. We'll get there one way or another. If we can get the truth of the elections, too, that'll be huge. It'll be huge. So, again, you guys are making the difference. You guys. Thank God. And where we go one, we go all. It's On the Fringe with Dan Radio Style.